moved into the same apartment that she was in.
On
But you
Robbinsdale.
had just moved out. You were
Yes.
already
I
at
remember
Subtex.
that.
Yes, yes.
Because you must have moved in there in the spring.
I was still
and you
mad
moved there.
because nobody asked me to be a bridesmaid in your weddings, neither one of
Well,
you.
you know, at the time, there again, Mother didn't want us to make you spend any money.
I said I was
I had all girlfriends.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
no.
And when she was married, Mother dictated exactly who had to be bridesmaids.
Mhm.
She had no choice in anything. That's what happens when you're 17.
See, and I didn't. I had whoever I wanted.
Oh, I
You were
had,
the youngest.
I wasn't a spoiled rotten. I did, and I had a very pretty wedding.
She did.
I
It
had
was
a rainbow
beautiful.
wedding.
She did. Every bridesmaid had a beautiful pastel color.
Yeah, yellow, green, blue, pink.
It was. I remember Father Jerry married you. I
Yes, he
believe.
did, because Father Sledge was going to, and I asked for Father Jerry, and he
Yeah.
says, I can't. He says he's going to be doing it. I was so disappointed, and then there was a funeral. And
Okay.
Father Sledge had to do the funeral, so Father Jerry got to marry us.
And I'll
it
never
was just
forget his
really
words
cool.
about your wedding. He says, it was so pleasant because everybody walked in with a different color, and he says it was just like a rainbow.
And it was.
Yeah,
it was.
I remember him making that. I mean, he didn't have very nice, not a lot of nice comments to
No.
make, but that was a very. I remember
I
him
just don't
saying that.
remember.
I had a pretty wedding.
Yeah, it was a beautiful.
They
wedding.
carried wicker
Well,
baskets with flowers.
I think I was in your wedding.
Mm-mm.
No,
Well, you
she-
just had Patty
Yeah, okay.
in April, and I
Yeah.
got married in
Yeah,
June.
I was not in.
Susie Novak was my Zelnick, one of the Zelnick girls. Susie was my maid of honor, and then I had Shirley and Marion, of course, and
Yeah.
Lenny's sister Kathy had to get them in there.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember your wedding at all.
Well, you remember the color. Well, from pictures, you would remember
Yeah,
her
no,
color.
yeah.
Yeah.
they were short dresses. They weren't long. We didn't have.
And they had to dye all those shoes to match their dresses, you know.
I remember a little bit you guys being in the backyard at Mom's house.
We did. We came back out because at that time you had to get married at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I think ours was 9.
It. You had the whole day to kill, so we set up the phonograph in the
Yeah.
yard, and all the guys were dressed in white tuxes, and their boutonnieres matched their girls because none of them knew each other. So I figured if I made the boutonnieres, they would remember who they were standing up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had the big wide brim hats. They were like plantation ladies. They looked like.
Yeah, they were
pretty
fun,
dressed
yeah.
up,
Who did I have in my wedding? I had Patty Zelenak.
Boyle. What is her name? Jan Boyle?
No, Jan Curtis.
Oh, Jan
From
Curtis.
work.
Okay.
From work. And Patty Zelenak.
Was I in your wedding?
And
I
you
must
were.
have been in your wedding.
Those, I just had
And
to
Lynn
leave.
was Flower Girl.
And Lynn was. See, that's why I thought, well, Lynn was in your place.
I know, Lynn was Flower Girl.
Yeah, Lynn was in, yeah, she was the flower girl. She took your place, Marlene,
Yes.
because it would have cost you too much money to have everybody.
I know. That's a mama
And
said.
see, I wasn't in Barb either. So,
And I
yeah.
said, well, I'm having Joyce Green, because I went from junior high to high school with Joyce, right on with Joyce. I said, Joyce going to be my bridesmaid. I even wrote it in her yearbook, our yearbook. Don't forget, I she's going to be my bridesmaid. Mother. She wasn't.
Wasn't she?
No. Nope, I had to have Shirley Anderson, who, hello.
It was a girl, it was a
Gloria
daughter of one of
Chopin,
these.
hello.
These
Poker
were all
ladies.
the poker ladies, their daughters.
Who I didn't know from Adam.
Yeah? Oh, we knew
The
of
only
them,
one
but-
they had was Molly and you and Patty Trombley.
Boy, you had
You had a big wedding.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And our mothers, our parents, made all those
food.
turkeys.
They got married at 9 in the morning, went home, and cooked turkeys all day long,
My
so they
mother
could bring them
peeled
to the hall
She was
for
still
the
peeling
reception.
potatoes at the reception time.
That was on 23rd and Washington North. Did
Best
you-
hall, best hall in the world.
Did you
But
know
you
that-
probably had Houston too at 23rd.
Oh,
I had
did.
Blindman's
You
Hall.
did it.
No, I didn't.
We had Blindman's
Oh,
Hall.
No,
you
we
had,
had the
oh,
blind.
okay.
There weren't many halls to have at that time, but the
Yeah.
23rd in Washington
Still there.
was the greatest.
still
All
there.
those wooden seats around that whole thing, and that big,
And if you
big
got drunk,
dance.
you fell down 3 flights of stairs. At least it fell
Mother
down
tried to
front.
slide down the railing that went down the middle
Our
of the
mother
2
loved,
stairs.
I'll tell you, our
Drunk as a
mother
skunk.
loved to drink. I'll tell you that. And when she was drunk,
She tried to
She
go down
was-
that railing.
she was mean. She was a mean drunk.
Yeah, she was.
She was not.
That's when Dad tried to catch her, and that's when he ruined his knee, because
Oh.
he just buckled the wrong way.
Yeah, no, we had some trying times with our mother and her drinking. She
Bless
didn't
her
do
heart,
it.
I loved her dearly. But
She didn't do it often, but when she did, she
Oh,
just
she
would-
was
she was just
nasty.
very
right up
hard.
until she didn't drink anymore at
Yeah.
about 80.
Yeah.
Really?
Seriously.
Seriously, yeah.
She just did
The
not know
last
how
one
to.
was at Easter at my house
Yes.
then,
That was bad.
right over
Yeah.
That
there.
was bad.
I know, it was very, she just did not know how to handle her liquor at
No.
all. And like I say, she didn't do it often, but when she did, she didn't do it well.
That's why
No.
they don't remember it as much as I did, because it was tough growing up at times.
Oh,
Very
I
tough.
remember getting up for church on Sunday morning and going down to the only bathroom that we had, and oh, what it smelled like.
Yeah.
But she
Mother
got
was leaning
she
over the
got
potty
sick,
all
and then
night.
they would come home and
And
they would
those-
fight,
Yeah.
and it was
And on
tough.
all those weddings, that we had a lot of weddings on the 23rd on Washington. And then it was a nice seating area for all the people to sit, big bar room.
It was a
Oh,
nice hall.
yeah, it was a
And those
great
weddings
hall.
were fun. Marlene, yours was up there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and then they did all of those shots, and then you did the bride dance, and they break that
You'd
piece
have to
with,
break a dish with a coin.
with a 50-cent piece or silver dollar. Those
Silver
were
dollars is what they were, and you would, it was
That
the,
was the-
it was the dollar
that
dance.
was the
That's how
dollar
it
dance.
started, and the old
Yeah.
tradition of the dollar dance was the glass plate. They used to pay $1, and then they would give them a silver dollar, and used to fire it at that plate and
Yeah.
try to break it. And if they broke it, it represented good luck to the bride and groom. So everybody would try and break that plate, and then you would get a shot of whiskey.
Or a cigar.
Yeah, and then you would dance with the bride or the groom. That was
That
the
was-
old tradition of the dollar
That was
dance.
the dollar dance in those days. That's right.
That was a good thing to discontinue.
Well, see, nowadays we think don't have them, they take too long. Oh, we couldn't wait to go through those babies because you got the shot of booze. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
In my album, I'm standing here going like this.
I know it. Well, and then Barbara, you rented there.
We rented the same apartment building that you and
Yeah,
Dick lived
and
in.
I remember you were pregnant because the smells, wasn't the
Oh,
smells
it was
bothering
awful, awful.
you? The
Well,
smells
then-
of the apartment bothered
And
When
then
I
you
got pregnant.
moved to,
Taylor Street Northeast,
Oh,
into an
okay, then.
88-year-old house.
yeah, I
That had
remember
bats
Taylor.
and mice.
Oh, okay, real well.
But
I
it was
remember
cheap,
that.
we paid $10,500 for that house,
Mhm.
lived
Yeah.
with all the bats and mice.
That was first of our many homes.
Yes, and we
Mm.
decided after that, no more old homes.
Yeah. Then they moved to Georgia.
We only lived there 3.5 years, and then Carrie and Chris were both born in that house, in
Mhm.
Taylor. And then we bought the house here in Crystal on 29th in Georgia, and then a year later you moved in here. So we've been we moved out to Crystal a long time. We moved
Yeah.
in on Patty's birthday, actually, April 8th of 1968.
68, okay. Mm-hmm.
And then we sold that house 10 years later and built right over here on 35th and Yates and built that house.
Yep.
Lived there for 12 years. Then went to Maple Grove, lived there for 9 years. Went to Champlin, lived there for 9 years. Two houses in Florida in between. We move a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say you're supposed to move every 10 years.
Then you don't accumulate everything.
I don't save anything. No.
Well, when you
Not
keep
a
moving, you
saver.
get rid of
Yeah, we
things.
just
Yeah.
talked about that. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a saver, but, but.
Well, that's because you haven't moved. If you were to move, you would throw some of that stuff out.
Yes,
Rick
Carrie's
would throw
pot is
some of
getting
those-
smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Or Rick would throw some of those broomsticks he's got tucked up in the rafters in the basement. We could throw some of those out.
Those dowels you might need someday. Mhm.
Yeah.
The old shades. I am paranoid to throw anything away because he probably would say, "Where is?"
Well, I don't know where'd you put it. See, whenever I tell Ronnie to clean out the garage, he comes in with like a cub bag and says, "Okay, I'm done." Excuse me.
So where did, okay, now I'm thinking we should maybe go to where our kids went to school. When we lived at Sotex on 2nd Street, Patty and Jim went to Schiller School over Northeast. They hopped a bus and they went over Northeast.
Over the bridge.
Over the bridge.
Was that a school bus or a city bus?
It was a school
A
bus
school bus.
Mhm.
that picked them up because we really were just over the bridge on the north side, and so we were closer than Hawthorne or anything like that. So that's where they were scheduled to go to school. Patty went there for kindergarten and first grade, and Jim then went there for kindergarten.
Now Richie had to be going to school there at that same time, and I just don't remember.
Or did
that
you
at all.
hold him back a year, Marlene?
And Richie was
No,
born the end
no.
of September. Maybe it was the cutoff was September 1st, so he maybe
went the
couldn't start the
following year.
following year.
Could have
Because
been.
I don't remember
He
that.
graduated with Chrissy.
Yeah, he did not graduate with Jim.
No, he did, yeah, because Carrie and
No.
Jim are the same age. And they're just,
Yeah.
what, 10 days, 9
Well, all
days
three
apart.
of us were pregnant at
the
the
same
same
time.
time with Richie and Carrie and Jim.
And Jim.
Yeah.
We
We had the same due date
yeah,
with Carrie and Jim, May 3rd.
yeah, and we have one picture of the three of us where we were all pregnant. She was, you would hardly know it. She maybe didn't know it at the time, but we were at your house, Marlene, for something, and
Yeah,
that
I
picture
remember
was
that,
taken.
yeah.
And we were all pregnant at that time. And so then when we came here, Patty and Jim went to
Neil.
Neil. Not Neil.
Yeah, it was. That's where my kids went.
No, we started off at
Adair?
by Bev Togel's house. What was that? Crystal Heights.
Oh.
They went to Crystal Heights.
Okay.
And they were there really till about the 4th grade, I would say 4th or 5th grade. And then they changed the boundaries. And now they're going to go to Neil, which upset the kids a little bit because their friends are all here. My only advice to them was, well, now you're going to meet a whole new bunch of friends. And think of the summers. You'll know all of these kids, and you'll know all of these kids. You're going to know that many more people than if you stayed at one school, because that wasn't easy. But they liked both schools. And then they went, from Neil, they went to Sandburg, and then of course, Robbinsdale High School.
And then I think Chrissy was the last graduating class. And they closed the school.
Yeah, and that,
It was
okay.
81, 82?
It must have been 82 because Jim.
82, yeah, because the kids just had their reunion,
Yeah.
25th
Yeah.
reunion.
Yeah. So your kids went really just to Neil and Sandburg and Robbinsdale.
Yep.
Marlene and yours went to Schiller also.
Mm-hmm, they did, yep.
Did they ever go to Catholic school? One of them did.
Both Lynn and Greg did, and that was a big mistake. Never should have done that.
You
But
did
they-
what Mama did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
And,
it was the
they
thing
were-
to do.
It was very unhappy times for both the kids and I. I think they only went to Holy Cross like 1st and 2nd grade, and then I took them out too. You do what your parents do and do what they tell you, but that was tough. My Greg had a tough time over there. So Lynn
The
had
Catholic
some-
schools were harder.
It was tough.
Dick always said they were a grade ahead.
Could-
Always.
He
They
could
were-
say that, and Lynn too, they could say the mass in Latin, but they couldn't read English. Hello?
Yeah, so that was. And then they all graduated from Edison.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
not
so-
Paul. Paul graduated from Spring Lake Park
Spring
High
Lake
School.
Park.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Because after Richie died, I didn't want to send him. At that time, there were boundaries changed again. Edison kids had to go to North High School, and I didn't want Paul to have to do that. And so I sent him. I gave Lynn's address, and Paul went to Spring Lake Park High School because I just didn't want him. And I already was working at Lynn's. I was working at Edison in the lunchroom, and I said, no, I'm gonna send Paul to Spring Lake Park, and that was a good move. That was okay. It was so a little tough for getting him there and what have you, for driving, and he bicycled a lot until he could drive, so.
Boy, as far as our kids' memories, you probably would have to ask them that better than us.
Yeah.
They'd have to talk like we're talking right now. I would say one big thing in our life was when Marlene and Rick bought the cabin,
Yeah.
because the cabin was a big part of our life.
It was.
We had many
Memories.
memories from that cabin, and we didn't stay there a lot, but we used every 4th
The
of July.
holidays.
All holidays were spent there,
Oh,
and
fun. It was fun.
we had a lot of fun memories, and we would dance and sing, and
We even used to go swimming in that slough.
yeah, it was
But
nice
it was
back then.
clean for a long time, you know?
Yeah.
Until the runoff from the farmers' yards just made it eat you a little worse, little worse, little
We
worse.
had
And
that
you-
sandbar right in the middle. We
Yeah,
used to
and
go
that was
play
fun.
with the frisbees out there.
Yes.
And you hate to bring up sad moments, but sad moments were when Richie graduated, didn't we have his graduation party
Yes,
up there, Marlene?
yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did, because that was a big deal for Marlene and Rick
And
to
he
have,
struggled so
He struggled
hard
so
to
hard.
graduate.
because school was very difficult for
Yeah.
him.
And then just no more. And then from there, he went right on to White Bear Trucking School. So he went right on to there. He was just about to graduate when he was killed in an accident. So
Yeah.
he no more than did that, and then
6
all that
weeks later.
schooling.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a sad, to add to the being that it was a sad thing anyway, all that struggling, and then within a few months,
Yeah, just
The
killed in a
accident
car
happened.
accident. So
Yeah.
it was just.
Yeah.
Always thought, what a waste! What a waste!
yeah, that was a very hard time in our lives for
Yes.
all of us. Our kids were close,
Yes.
Yes.
and they were the same age, and
Yeah.
so it was for our families to deal with that. That was a lot
That
to deal
was-
And
with.
my sisters really pulled me through.
Yeah.
They came for 1 year. I was working for Lynn. They came for 1 year every Wednesday to the shop, and we had coffee and rolls
Yeah.
before the shop
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah, just
1 year.
That's right.
And I know that a lot of times now, some of our friends have had the same situation I'm going through right now with one year. That 1 year is so awful because you keep saying last year at this time, last year at this time,
Yeah.
last year at this time.
comparing.
You know, and that's a bad thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
really hard, but they really pulled me through. So that was
Well,
good.
that was a tough time.
Yeah, it was. So.
I have to bring up one thing that maybe is important in my life, as when we were married, and it happened when I was out of high school. But bowling was a big part of my life, and everybody knows that. And that's really where I met Dick and met a lot of my friends right now.
They wouldn't let me bowl.
It was too expensive for you.
No, they didn't bowl good enough.
Yeah,
And
she
as
did.
soon as they had an opening, they got somebody to
Yeah.
fill
Yeah,
it.
it was really
All right.
about that then.
Yep.
Okay, one thing that was, I think back now, I did bowl 2 leagues because I started bowling on Sunday night up at New Hope with Dad. Mother and Dad started bowling up there, and I don't know who they bowled with and how it ever got started. But as time went on, Mom didn't bowl, and I ended up bowling with Dad. And over the years, Uncle Mike bowled a lot. Alec Novak I bowled with, and Dick and Gloria Hennis. I think we bowled for about 10 years. We had wonderful bowling banquets because somebody that belonged in our league ran the KC Hall, so we always had this 3-piece band, and we had wonderful dances and drinking, and everybody in that league was a lot of fun. And I loved bowling with my dad. He was always, he could bowl strike and come back happy. He'd miss a spare and come back happy. He was always just a fun person to bowl with. And I had some of my best bowling times with my dad. I had my first 700 when I bowled with Dad, and that couldn't have made me happier. And that was very special, so that was one of my memories about bowling. We've had many, of course, because we've bowled in state tournaments, we bowled in city tournaments, and we
Nationals.
and bowled in nationals, and we probably went to about 12 to 15
Yeah, I think
national
I counted my
tournaments.
pins that I have. I think there was at least 12 of them.
Okay, tournaments, and we didn't go every year. We picked the funnest places. We'd go to Las Vegas, we'd go to Reno, we'd go to
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. Oh, that was beautiful. And then we went Fort Lauderdale and
Tampa. We did
Tampa.
Florida a couple times.
Yeah, we did Florida.
LA.
Yeah, we had a lot of, and those plans they were all planned by a agency, by a travel agency. Fink did it through a travel agency. So all we had to do is every year put our money down, and then a little bit more money, and then a little bit more money, and then we went. And they took care of us from the time
And
we
Ronnie
got.
was always in charge of it. Do you need some money, Ronnie? Okay, write me a check. Okay.
Yeah, we did, and then
Right.
we'd go, and what we liked about it was the plane was always full of bowlers.
Mhm.
And the bowlers were all fun and happy people.
Yeah.
And so that made it even more special because, and all of our trips, side trips were planned by her, and we just had a,
We used to get the bowling over with right away, chop, chop, get it done so that we could play the rest of the time we were there.
and we would always play cards in the airport, and
Oh, yes.
we did, we always had,
On buses.
yeah, we did. We had a lot of really good times, so we have a lot of, to this day, I've got a lot of bowling. Through what's going on now in my life, I've gotten many cards from many of the bowling people, and that makes it even more special.
She knew more people. We know, I don't care where we went, where we traveled, someone would pass her on the street, Ronnie! Everybody always knew Ronnie, and they never knew us.
And
were just
we had shirts made,
Yeah.
and it said, "We're Ronnie's sisters."
Yeah. And then one year for Christmas, I made them for everybody.
Yes.
They said, I am Ronnie's niece, I am Ronnie's niece's
Yes,
husband,
she
I am
did.
Ronnie's niece's daughter. Everybody
They
got shirts
always-
because
when they-
nobody knew our
No,
name.
when they come up to
you
you
were
and say,
Ronnie's sister.
"Aren't you Ronnie's sister?"
Nobody
Barbara
knew our
takes
name.
a joke and she carries it very far. She never just lets it be little, it had to be far. So, so when I went to apply for a job at Byerly's, they said, "Aren't you Barb's sister?"
Whoa!
And I says, "Yes, I am."
And that's what really started the whole thing was for your birthday, I gave you a shirt that said, I am Barb's sister.
Yeah. She's the one that, yeah, although she isn't the one that got me the job at Byerly's, it was Susie
Susie.
that got me the, it's another error, I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, you worked at
We should
Byerly's.
talk a little
Both
bit
of you
about
for
that
a
either.
long
Yeah, both
time.
of
You
you.
worked at
I
Byerly's.
worked at Byerly's 29 years.
No.
You worked
I worked 24 and a half years. When the kids were in grade school, I worked for, I think, 7 years. Well, first when we first moved out here, I started a job when we were still down on 2nd Street. I worked for Chicago Dental Lab. It was on Hennepin and 11th. And they did false teeth.
dentures.
Yeah, they did dentures. And I would just go there on Saturday morning. I worked from 8 to noon, I think. I'd hop a bus. I wanted to get out of the house a little bit because I was always with the kids. And even Dick, I mean, he worked a little bit at the bowling alley some nights. He'd bowl, and if there was ever a sporting event, believe me, he was always gone. So he really didn't spend that much time with the kids.
And
Maybe
maybe
they'll
early in the evening.
Maybe
not
they'll
late.
tell you that in their stories. But anyway, I took a job, I applied for it and I got it. And I did that for quite a few years. I did it for a couple of years on 2nd Street. And when we moved out here, I did it for a couple more years. I'd go there on Saturdays. I took the car then. Boy, I got to take the car down because I couldn't have a bus so easy from here. So I took the car down there and I worked on that job for probably was there about 4 or 5 years. And then I got a job at the Country Kitchen, waitressing, and I worked there for I think about 7 years. I did that along.
Yeah,
Most
yes,
of my
you
jobs
did.
lasted about 6, 7 years. And then and while I was there, Susie says, "Why don't you come and work in the bakery? We need a person," which I'm so glad she did because now I became a part of a union.
Yes.
And because I was in a union, it made it kind of nice for where we sit now.
And the same way
Because of
with
the
you.
pension.
Yeah.
And I was with my daughter for 26 years, and there's no pension, there's nothing. There's
Still
nothing,
working.
nothing, nothing.
But
And I-
Marlene, first you worked at the
At the AMW and
No,
at the school.
yeah, you worked at
Edison,
the
I worked at
AMW.
school
and then you worked in the school lunchroom for quite a few years.
for a few years, yeah.
Yeah, you did that.
Nothing ended up with a pension, including my husband didn't end up with a pension.
No.
So,
But when I
it's
started
different.
Byerly's, I didn't even know how to spell pension. I didn't even know what it meant.
Okay.
It just came along with the territory. I was just going to work for the summer.
And
At
you
that-
And it
know,
ended
yeah.
up to be nearly 30 summers. You know,
Yeah.
so
At
it
that
just
time,
I fell
it-
And for
into
you,
it.
Barbara,
important.
that was unreal.
Yeah, to keep a job that long.
Yes.
But it had
Yeah.
good benefits. A lot
So
of
Barb
vacation
and I
time.
worked in the same store on Duluth Street for quite a few years. And then she moved down to management, of course. And so then I went to different stores. And I remained at Golden Valley which was nice because I just had to drive down to Highway 100, and my car automatically took me right to Duluth Street, and it was 5 minutes away, so that was really nice.
I know, but Ronnie, you work some really bad night hours. I always felt like you had to leave so early in the morning.
Yeah, I
I'm
did
worried
work,
about
but
you.
I liked them. I didn't mind the hours. I was a early morning person. It didn't bother me.